Welcome, everyone. This is the Wednesday edition, December 22nd, 2021 of the NBA Basketball Triple-Double edition of the Predictive Playbook shows presented by SportsMemo TV. Hello to everyone, and we have you more than covered here for the Wednesday card. I have my co-host, Ronald Cabang, who, by the way, is at it again over at SportsMemo.com. He's the reigning best NBA capper at SportsMemo from last year, and currently right now, he is number one again. So invest in yourself, get him working for you tonight, get him working for you for the rest of the season, and you'll be glad you did. I can't endorse him enough.
Just a quick thing there. I'm actually second. I don't know who's first. Our leaderboard in the back end doesn't allow us to see who's there.
Wow.
But I'm second right now. I want to make sure that's clear, just in case whoever's on top sees it. I don't want to.
Well, that's what makes Sports Memo and Wager Talk so great. You just saw it, folks. The full transparency. He could have sat there and just said, "Boy, this is nice that John Ryan's saying this about me." I think what I saw, Ron, was you're number one in the last 30 days.
Yeah,
and,
30 days. Yeah.
Yep. People can go check that out and the leaderboard as well. But the fact of the matter is he's first last year. He's second this year overall. That clearly means that he's number one the last two seasons combined. I think we can draw that conclusion. So welcome to the show, Ronald. We'll get right at it here. We're going to take a look at the Cleveland versus Boston Celtics game. The Celtics are really not playing well at all. And I don't think they can really blame it entirely on the COVID-19 situation. Cleveland seems to be oblivious to it. They are just amazing right now against the spread. Cleveland is 19-12 straight up on the season. They are 23-6 against the spread. And by the way, just reminded me that we are 20-6 ourselves. So we're like the Cleveland Cavaliers, but 3 games behind us. So we have to sweep this show, Ronald, to match what Cleveland has already done on their own merit. That's 77% winners on the shows, the last 9 shows that Ronald and I have done, and that's spanning almost a month. So back to this game. The total is opened at 211.5. It's now 211. Boston is catching some public money here, -5.5 opening, now -6. Now I like the Cleveland situation here, and I think Cleveland is the play here, Ronald. I'm leaning right now. I don't know if this will be a best bet. We'll find that out at the end of the show. But some of the things that stick out here, I think will continue. Since Bickerstaff has become the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's 26-8 against the spread in the first half of the season. This season, which I mentioned earlier. He's also 11-2 against the number after covering 6 or 7 of his last 8 games. Bickerstaff is 34-19-1 simply after a game that they covered the spread. And I see Boston in just a dysfunctional team right now. They have players that can play the game, obviously, but they're not playing with any type of chemistry. Now the defense is starting to kind of come unraveled, and Cleveland is just on a magical run right now. And I don't think it's matured enough to think that they become a fade. If anything, the market probably hasn't evaluated them correctly, and they're still undervalued, if you can believe that. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are in this game, Ron, and if you agree with me.
Yeah, I think, we do this game early in the morning at 7:30, so I haven't been able to dive too deeply into this game, but just looking at the injury report, it seems like this is one of the more affected games by COVID and injuries. In Cleveland missing Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, who I believe are 2 of the most important pieces to the success of this Cleveland team. They're going to be out. The one thing they do have is Garland, who's been also another integral part of this Cleveland team. But I think it's tough, right? You talk about chemistry, and COVID has really hurt this team as far as who they've had on the court during this run. Boston, they also have some COVID health protocol issues themselves, and they're missing some guys down low too. So that could be a wash. I'm not too sure. Boston also has a look at to the Bucks. So for me, at this point, I can't I can't give anyone an edge here, but I do know that Evan and Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen are really important to that team, and I would probably need to really make sure Cleveland's back guys in the who's backing up are going to be able to defend the paint and rebound as well as they do, at least for the short amount of time that they're out.
Yeah, and I haven't seen who they're pulling from the G League, but I mean, nearly every team now is pulling teams from their affiliate.
Yeah,
to have a bench, and that's a good point. I still think the players that are left on Cleveland have that moxie right now. I love saying that word, and it's just like an attitude. And they've overcome some difficult situations within games, and now they have to overcome this where they have 8 guys, as you mentioned, that are on the COVID-19 health and safety protocol. So you probably, what do you think about this, Ron, in terms of wager size? Is this the time that is very appropriate to reduce our wagers? Perhaps maybe if you wanted to continue wagering $100 per game, and that's what you wager per game previous to this, that maybe you do 50% now and see how the COVID situation and the news evolves throughout the day, because it is a really liquid situation, ever-changing. Does that make any sense to you?
It could be. I for me here, I think it's like you said, right? It's a liquid situation. I think you got to wait till closer to the game time, especially with teams who are being affected by COVID so much. Like, you don't know if they're going to be adding more to health protocol. You don't know who they're signing. And I think, like you mentioned, right, they're signing guys off of G League teams, affiliate teams, but I think they're even signing, they're signing guys who I feel like we're not on the G League team, right? You're seeing like right. TJ Miles, you're seeing Stevenson and all these guys getting signed to teams. It's a tough situation with teams like these that are being affected so much. One thing you could think about is maybe the under here. You talk about Boston's chemistry and how they're not playing together as a team, and that mainly is on the offensive side of the ball. Cleveland, you're missing a couple guys down low who can score and get the offensive rebounds and put back points. They're missing some shot blocking, but at the same time, the defensive scheme stays the same. So you got guys like Kevin Love and all that stuff who do a good job boxing out and things like that. So, maybe Cleveland's a better play here than the under is a better play here than Cleveland.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I'll have to give it some thought while we go through the show and see if it's still going to be a possibility for a best bet. I guess the one thing is recency bias. I have to be careful with this, is that we had Boston as one of our picks in our 3-0 sweep on Monday.
Yeah.
Bringing our record to 20-6 for the shows. But Boston's off a pretty terrible loss to the Sixers, who are, every NBA team has COVID problems. But they lost that game outright as a 3.5-point home favorite. And that kind of has me thinking like the downward spiral, may be happening for the Celtics. But we can talk about that later. Let's move on to the Denver game now. This is 8 o'clock start. Denver is 15-14. They're 7-9 away. The Thunder of Oklahoma City, 10-19 straight up, 5-10 at home. They are 6-point underdogs to the Denver Nuggets with a total of 214 points. So what do you think of this game, Ronald?
Yeah, I'm looking at the side here. The Thunder, they've covered in 3 straight games, and it seems like they're one of the more healthier teams in the league. I think when I looked at the injury report this morning, I think they had one guy out. I think it was Muscala, and it said rest, so it wasn't even health protocol. So they seem pretty healthy here. They've shown some improvement on the defensive side of the ball lately. They're top 10 in defensive rating in the last 3 games, and limiting opponents to 44% from the field in their last 5 games, which is also in the top 10. On the Nuggets side of the ball, this was supposed to be their 3rd road game in a row, but their last game was postponed. They were supposed to play the Nets, so they haven't played since I think it's Friday. But they've been dealing with injuries and COVID issues lately. So they've been messing with their roster, the rotation, that stuff. It affects the chemistry there. The Nuggets, they're 0-4 against the spread this season in the road. Games coming off of a road win, which would be the spot they're in tonight, since they did beat the Hawks in Atlanta. The Nuggets, they've been a bottom 5 defense their last 5 games with a 115.7 defensive rating, and allowing over 116 points per game. They also have a tough schedule coming up. They have the Hornets, Clippers, and back-to-back games with the Warriors. So it's possible they overlook the Thunder tonight. I think I would take the healthier team here at home. I would take the Thunder plus the points.
It's very interesting. Another interesting thing about the Denver Nuggets, and some of the other teams have matched this already this year, is that they're 6 straight games now. They have gone 4-2 straight up and against the spread. And in those games that they won, they covered. In the games they lost, they did not cover. But this goes back all the way to November the 8th for the Denver Nuggets, where they have played 20 consecutive games. If you said they were going to win the game, they also covered. If you said they were going to lose, they didn't cover. So do you think there's a possibility that trend ends tonight and OKC just wins the game outright?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I really do think that this might be a Thunder spot here. I definitely could see them winning this game. I think so far this season, when I've taken a look at the schedule, right, schedule spots and look ahead spots, it seems like it's been a big thing this season specifically. I haven't looked at the record for it because sometimes teams run hot and team runs cold, so sometimes look ahead spots aren't what look ahead spots are, right, in certain situations, right? So, for me right now, just based off experience, it's been working for me. So I could definitely see OKC possibly winning this one outright. But obviously, the safety net of having plus 5.5 is definitely good.
Yeah, I like it. Like it a lot there. As we move on to our final game of our triple part of our triple-double show, that's the Clippers versus the Kings. We're out in the West Coast, obviously, 10 o'clock start Eastern Standard Time. Clippers are 16-15. They're 4-7 away, though. They tale of 2 different types of teams, again, which many of the NBA teams are suffering from. The Sacramento Kings 13-19 overall, 7-9 at home. Total is 219 points. Sacramento is a 5.5-point home underdog. What do you see in this game?
I think here I'm looking at the total this morning, okay. And I think the big key here is having Paul George back. I know they lost their last game in his first game back. He was out since December 6th. But the Kings, they lost 5 of their last 7 games, right? And lately they haven't been a strong defensive team. They haven't been all season, but they've also haven't been doing well offensively. In their last 5 games, they're bottom 5 in both offensive rating and defensive rating, which is why they have a minus 7.2 net rating during that time. And I think that also is bottom 5 in the league. The Clippers, they've lost 3 in a row now with an outright loss to the Spurs, in that first game where Paul George came back. But the reason why he's such a big boost is because, defensively he affects the game. He's able to, he's probably their best defensive perimeter defender, right? So with George out, their defensive rating is 114.6, but with him it's 105.1, and that's a pretty big difference. And when you look at defensive rating, this will also be a revenge spot for the Clippers. The Kings won their last matchup in Sacramento by 5 points on December 1st. So there's some factors there that I think Clippers will be up for this game. I think they're gonna play some great defense and shut this Sacramento Kings team down. I think looking at the Kings' current form and how well they play with Paul George, I think I'll take the under in this game.
And I have no debate coming back at you, Ronald, on this one. I ran my predictive models every morning, and this one came up pretty big. And what the models are showing is that in this game, the Kings will not get to 100 points. So that precludes an under pretty easily. But in games that the Clippers have allowed an opponent to score fewer than 100 points, the under is 81-12 for 87% over the last 5 seasons. So I'm thinking maybe a lean towards the team total under Kings to augment what you're talking about with the overall game bet going under. So I'm with you 100% on this one. Let's move on to our best bets, and this is where we put ourselves in the pressure cooker. And, you know, it's an important lesson in all seriousness for people who are listening to the show. Yes, we can say with a smile we're 77% for the shows, right? But at some point, and no matter how good Ronald and I are, and Ronald's leading the charge here, obviously, over at SportsMemo, there's going to be those times where, you know, the backdoor cover, guy misses a wide open three, bad officiating perhaps, and you will have those stretches where we're going to churn around. Like you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And that could go on for several weeks. But the good news is that then you're that much closer to the next winning streak. So each show, we're going to give out our 3 best bets and hope to keep doing 2-1s and 3-0s for as long as possible. But the key is be disciplined, bet the same amount on each game, and don't, you know, fall prey to the temptation to, oh, these guys are hitting 70%. I'm gonna now bet 500 a game instead of the 100. That's critical that you do not do that. So I've given you some time there to think about your best bets, Ronald. So take it away and tell me who you want.
Yeah, I think my first best bet is going to be the Thunder. I really do think they're in a good position today to possibly win outright. But like I mentioned earlier, the safety net of having plus 5.5 points is awesome. The other one too, and I'm going to roll with you here is the Kings team total under. You know, just in case the Clippers come out, you know, firing with George having a game under his belt, and them possibly, you know, scoring over 120 points, which is doable against a Kings defense here. I think, I don't normally play team total. I usually play the full game spread or the full game total for both teams. But I think the Kings team total under here is a good look.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But we can't make it a double bet because I would just fly right in the face of the discipline that I just got done talking about. But at least the viewers know we're both on that side. Yeah, this is the part that gets hard. It's I'm like this when I'm in a restaurant looking at a menu, and I have a hard time deciding on just one thing as my main course. But in the Cleveland-Boston game, I'm gonna go to the over in this, and I'm switching because I think Cleveland will still play well. But your points made me think about a couple things that are related to the pace of the game, and with all these new players in the game. There will be a propensity to play at a faster pace. There may not be as many fouls called in these games. They'll be settling for jump shots. And 2-11 sounds cheap to me. So for my best bet, I'm going to go over the total in the Cleveland-Boston game of 211 points. Any last thoughts, Ronald, to share with the viewers?
Not that I could think of now. Just be careful with all the COVID health protocol things here going on. Make sure you make calculated decisions. At this point, you can't just guess who's playing and who's not, because you never know what's going to happen, and you might end up getting a bad line. At the end of the day, so just be careful and make calculated decisions.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And using the in-game is probably really good with this type of situation. Because at the tip, you can see who's playing. You can put 50%, even 75% pre-flop before the game starts, and then use that extra 25% in-game to get an even better line. Because in the NBA, the price or the scoring volatility can work in your favor, and rarely does a team start out, an 8-0 run and just goes on to win the game. So there will be, at times during the game, you'll be able to get a better price than what we're seeing right now in the live betting markets at wagertalk.com/odds. So, Ronald, thanks for your time. Again, we hope to go 2-1 and 3-0. We think we will. We've done a lot of research already on these games. So for all those viewers, thanks for watching. And take a moment. It'll just take a second to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss another show of the Predictive Playbook, which covers NFL, college football, college basketball, and, of course, this NBA show. So have yourself a great week in the sports betting markets. Cash in big, and we'll see you again next week with another edition of the NBA Triple Double Show. Not next week. It'll be this Friday, Christmas Eve. We do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. May all the best come to you during this holiday season and enjoy it immensely. And, of course, may all the wins be yours.